everyone, and a very big welcome to the channel, and of course a big welcome to today's video. Now, I just wanted a very informal, relaxed kind of video for today. I didn't fancy doing a vlog. At first I was like, should I vlog today? But then I decided against it, so I've landed on this very informal style video. I want to just talk to you guys about a few things that have happened in the last week that have been going on in my life, and it is to do with my granddad's funeral. I just wanted to come on here and say a few things about it, a couple of thank yous, a couple of, just talk about it briefly, not in too much detail, but just a few little bits. So if you're not into that kind of content today, this is your trigger warning, I suppose. You don't have to sit through this video, of course you don't. So if you're not feeling up to it today, that's perfectly fine. Click off and I'll see you in another video, a one that's a bit more positive. Hang on. What the hell is this that I've just found on my bedroom floor? I hoovered in here last night. How's that got there? I am in my dressing gown. I'm cuddling in my dressing gown whilst my daughter is at nursery for half a day. So I'm just snuggling. I'm getting all cozy and comfortable because it is quite cold. Just to give you guys some context as to what's gone on. My granddad, bless him, was diagnosed back in June of this year, so 2024. And he was diagnosed with a very rare type of cancer. And just a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, he unfortunately passed away. And obviously it's been a very, very difficult time for me and all of my family. At the end of the day, my granddad, I saw him as a dad in many, many ways. When my parents split up, he very much stepped up. The amount of stuff that he did for me and my mum during that time. I mean, he was a very kind, giving, loving person anyways, just generally, to anyone. If anyone was having an issue with something or if anybody needed anything, he was like, I'm on my way, I'll sort it. I'll be round your house in like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, he was very, very much a very kind, generous, loving, caring man. He had a heart of gold. He would help anyone with anything. I think it was a year or two ago, me and my husband were having big issues with our car, with our old Ford Mondeo, the silver one, before we got the one that we've got now. And my husband was literally outside. He was underneath the car trying to sort stuff out. And my granddad came over and he just said, do you want to borrow my car for a bit? What's your insurance like? Are you able to drive other cars on your insurance? Blah, blah, blah. And he offered him his car. Now, my granddad's car was a Range Rover. It was a 2014, I believe, Range Rover. My granddad had a passion for cars. He had a passion for cars with big engines. He was always getting new cars. He loved it, whether it was old cars, new cars, big cars. Like, he just had a love for cars. Little things like that he did all of the time to absolutely anybody that he knew. He literally would help anyone. And I just want to say a massive thank you to St. Teresa's, who were very much involved in the last sort of month of his life or so. The work that they do is just, it takes a very, very special kind of person to do that kind of work, end of life care. So I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to the people who cared for my granddad in the final weeks of his life. And also I want to thank Macmillan Cancer Support for all of the amazing work that they did as well since he was diagnosed. again, you know, it takes a special group of people to care for people who are dying. And yeah, their support, what they did, I'll be forever grateful. So a massive, massive thank you to St. Teresa's and the Macmillan nurses, because the work they do is just, I couldn't do that work because it is so upsetting. A massive thank you to everyone who attended his funeral last week. His funeral was as lovely as a funeral could be. How my nana, my mum and other members of the family pulled that funeral together so quickly. The amount of stuff that they had to do to get that funeral, you know, organised was amazing. And it was as lovely as a funeral could be. I really felt like we really celebrated the type of person that my granddad was, and we really celebrated his life, his humour, his phrases. One of the many phrases that he had was "see you on the beach," and try not to get upset. Come on, girl, pull it back. You got this. It's fine. I don't want to just sit and cry. So yeah, my granddad always said, like, anytime you'd leave the room or you'd say goodbye, it wasn't goodbye with my granddad, it was "see you on the beach." And I have no idea where he got that catchphrase from, but that's something I'll always remember him for. It was a very colourful funeral. It was celebrating his love of football. So people who supported the same team as my granddad wore football shirts of that team. And yeah, it was like, it wasn't black, heavily formal kind of funeral, all everyone wearing black, doom and gloom. People were dressed, of course, very, very smart, but there was a heavy emphasis on colour, because my granddad was a very happy, colourful, positive kind of person, a very happy, caring person, and he didn't want anybody dressed in black. So that was really, really lovely, and it was really lovely looking around. Like, there were some people who were at that funeral who I either had not seen for at least 10, 15 years, or people who I just had no idea who they were. And it was really, really lovely seeing just how many people my granddad had impacted in his life. Like, I was looking around in the crematorium, everybody sat down, and it was like, wow, my granddad was like such a special person who touched so many people's lives, like, and that was really, really lovely, like, to see, you know, because I knew he was very well loved. I knew he was very liked and respected. I knew he had a lot of friends, but I didn't realise quite the scale of how much he was well liked and how many people he impacted while he was alive. And like, to see that was truly amazing. Obviously the funeral was very upsetting. I absolutely cried my eyes out. I said to my husband, I said, like, my goodness, this is my very first funeral. And obviously I just sobbed the whole way through. And obviously a lot of other people did as well. And one of the saddest parts about the funeral for me was my nana, right? My nana and granddad were together. They were married for 62 years. 62 years of marriage. Like, that is unbelievable, right? And my nana is a very, very strong person. Obviously she has, since granddad has passed, she has very much tried to keep it together. She's very much cried and got upset, as it's very understandable, you know. This is a massive thing for her. And I can't help but feel very, very sorry for her and very, very heartbroken for her, because she has lost the love of her life. She has lost somebody who she has spent over 60 years of her life with. You know, that is, it just must be scary. And heartbreaking and devastating. But one of the worst parts was nearer to the end of the ceremony. I was actually sat in behind my nana in the second row. And all of a sudden, she just burst into tears. She was really, really upset. She was bawling her eyes out, bless her. And literally, the sound of her crying is still stuck in my head now, nearly a week after the funeral. It's something that literally my brain, it's ingrained in my brain. Like, I play that back over and over again, like just the sound of her crying, being so upset. And you want to know the craziest thing about this? She was crying her eyes out. She somehow, I mean, what a woman, okay? She somehow pulled herself together again, right? And got up, and people were asking her, coming over to her, saying, "Are you all right?" And she literally looked at them and said, "Yeah, I'm all right." My mind is blown. Like, what a woman. How she is able to do that, I don't know. But that's my nana, you know. I think she's stronger than a lot of people realise. And just seeing her do that when I was a complete mess, unbelievable how strong she is. A big thank you to members of the family who stepped in to actually help organise the funeral. Just to anyone who had any part in arranging that funeral, you know, because I just don't know how they did it. They're grieving people, and they somehow pulled that funeral together. Like, I couldn't do it. I also just want to very quickly also thank the nursery that my daughter attends, because basically, usually my daughter attends nursery for 3 half days a week. She normally attends Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Like, she does half a day. And I actually messaged them, I contacted them, and I said, look, you know, told them the circumstances. We need to go to this funeral. I won't be able to make it back to pick her up for 1 o'clock. Is there anything that we can do? Between myself and the nursery, we came to the agreement that Ellie would not attend on the Tuesday, but she would have a full day instead of a half day on the actual day of the funeral, which was Thursday. So a massive thank you to the nursery for allowing me to do that, because that then allowed my husband to attend the funeral as well. And it was big. Obviously, my husband wanted to pay his respects and attend the funeral, but I also very much felt like I needed him there for his support. And if they had not arranged that and allowed me to do that, my husband would have had to have stayed at home and looked after my daughter whilst I went to the funeral. It's been tough, and I know this video has been a very, very long video, but this is kind of what I wanted, just a little bit of a talk, a little bit of like a chit chat, very informal kind of chit chat. It's just amazing how the family has kind of come together to support not just my nana, but everyone. Like, people were coming up to me during the funeral and giving me hugs, and like, some of these people I haven't communicated with for a long, long time, you know, for years. So yeah, it's really lovely just seeing the family come together to celebrate my granddad's life, you know, as difficult and as horrible as it is, and I wish it was under better circumstances. You know, it was also very lovely to just see the way the family has come together. It's lovely, and I think my granddad would have been proud. I just wanted to say a lot of thank yous to every single person who was involved in, you know, my granddad's life, his funeral. And one more thing I will mention before we go is that I really do hope we are able to research more into the type of rare cancer that my granddad had, to try and avoid so many people dying of this specific type of cancer. I will put the name of it down the bottom of the type of cancer that he had. So I really would love for more research to be done in that area. so that hopefully we have more survivors of this type of cancer rather than deaths. So yeah, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I really hope that you're all safe, you're all happy, and you're all healthy. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye everyone.